Alright, so before I get into this video, it would have felt weird to just make this video without giving my quick thoughts on what happened last night with Damar Hamlin. Thought about making a video about it, but I don't know, that would have felt kind of weird. Almost, I didn't want to do that, but I figured I have to give my thoughts here before we just get back to the regular football of it all. Obviously, just a very tough situation, really, hoping that everything works out okay for Hamlin and for the Hamlin family. Just a very scary situation, a very sad situation. I still don't have the full updates on what's going to happen as of this point. Hoping everything works out all right, but yeah, just just a scary situation. I mean, that's really the main thing I have to say about it. I'll put a link in the description here there's a doctor who covers all these, situations. He goes into more detail about what the actual thing was and kind of what we know about this situation. So if you want to learn more, check that out. But anyways, I'm just going to get back to the regularly scheduled video at this point. So what the hell happened with Carson Wentz? What a bizarre, just bad performance by Carson Wentz. I mean, this was listen, I know people are going to sit here and say, well, yeah, it's Carson Wentz. He sucks. He's usually not this bad. I mean, this is bad from his standards. This was maybe the worst game of his career. What a mess, especially after Ron Rivera made the bold move of putting him in, and it, backfired as badly as it could have. Probably is a guarantee that Ron Rivera will not be there next year because of this decision. It was tough. It was brutal, actually. Let's talk about why it was so bad. So on this play, it's going to be a man coverage situation where, again, man coverage, find a matchup you like the best. That's kind of, that makes sense here in this situation. And this route on paper could definitely work. So Wentz takes the snap, and what you see is that, okay, his receiver starts to cut towards the outside, but it's just, he's not getting the separation you need right here. There's a defensive back playing this very well, so for Wentz, it's just clearly a throw he shouldn't make. I mean, at first you see this and say, okay, it was an anticipatory throw where he threw it expecting his receiver to get open. That's what he was expecting. But you look at him, and he still has the ball in his hand right now. I mean, he's committed at this point. The ball is, he's definitely in the throwing motion to where he's going to make this throw. But it's like he waited to make this throw. This was not one of those where you throw it and hope your receiver gets open. He chose to make this throw, which I just don't get why. Wentz throws a baffling interception that would be on many players' worst interceptions of the year list, but for Wentz, this wasn't even a top 2 bad interception of the game, as he had a couple of much worse ones. Like this one, just it makes also zero sense as to why he did it. I don't get what happened with Wentz. Again, you look at Wentz and think he's like Johnny Manziel or something out there. Like, I know people are going to get on him, but throughout the course of his career, listen, he's never been worth his contract outside of 2017, which he wasn't even on the contract at that point. He has yet to live up to that. But like last year in Indianapolis, he was an okay quarterback who was just overpaid and, did have a meltdown the last game of the season. But even that meltdown was nowhere near this meltdown, where what's going to happen here is you have a receiver who's running a deep route that could get open, right? There is kind of that middle area of the field that could potentially be a window for Wentz to make this throw. Okay, sure. Wentz takes the snap. He's going to look in that direction, and on some level, you can kind of see how this could be open, right? Where you have the linebacker who is staying deep, his back is turned, so he can't really play the ball. You can make this throw, kind of throw it over the linebacker. I can understand the logic there. The issue is, I don't know if he just didn't know there was a safety there or what, but there's a safety there. So you have to be aware of that, and you have to make a throw to avoid the safety, and Wentz just does not do that at all. I mean, Wentz just throws one up, puts a ton of air under it, and that's an easy interception. He had to have just not seen the safety, I would assume, but the safety was there the whole time. How do you not see the safety? That's almost worse in this scenario if that is the case. So, again, just a bafflingly weird situation. A play like this could have been an interception, but wasn't. Again, sometimes you see someone who has 3 interceptions, but one of them was tipped. And, usually a 3 interception game, it's not just 3 earned interceptions. There's usually some flukiness involved. This one could have been worse, where what's happening here is it's zone coverage. You have a receiver who, again, going to be a one-on-one matchup. On paper, a play that can work. I think it's fair to say, if you are a Carson Wentz fan, first of all, why? But secondly, if you are a Carson Wentz fan, you would probably say, hey, there was some tough situations. Guys weren't getting open. That's probably fair. I think to some degree it is. Like, watch as, okay, receiver's not going to get open on this play. Really, I mean, kind of an, 0% chance of this working out. So, yes, it's maybe you could blame the receiver for not getting open here. At the same time, for Carson Wentz, though, you shouldn't make this throw. Like, that is football. Guys don't get open on every play. You have to be able to minimize the damage when things don't go well, and that's been just an issue Wentz's whole career, is that he makes bad situations worse. He's always done that. Even in his best days with Philadelphia, he would do that at times where he would make a bad situation worse. Just that one year, there wasn't very many bad situations. He didn't have to worry about it, but in a typical year, there's going to be bad situations. Watch as Wentz makes this throw that got tipped up, could have been picked very easily. So, again, he got lucky on that one, but as a whole, just another questionable decision. Not really questionable decision, because questionable implies that there was it's at least a question as to whether you should have thrown it or not. These are just straight up bad decisions. This one's probably the worst interception that he threw, which again is saying something given this game and how it went. I don't know what he was. It's just like I don't know what he was doing here. I don't know what he was doing in this game. Was he just going to make a throw no matter what? I guess so. I guess that's what he was doing, was he was making his pre-snap reads and just making it regardless, where you see this route, and it's one that could potentially work if the safety does not stay deep. That's how it can work. Against quarters coverage, the safety doesn't have to cover deep, although they typically do, so it's probably not a good throw, but it could potentially open up. It's something you could look to. Watch as Wentz is going to take the snap, and as of right here, it's a no-brainer to not make this throw. For a second, I thought maybe Wentz was trying to look off the safety and then throw it at the last second, hoping he would get the safety out of position. But he's looking at the receiver now, so he does at least look long enough to see, the field and see what's happening. Maybe he's expecting that the safety, his consensus hips are turned towards the middle of the field. It would be difficult to for him to get back there. That's what I would assume is happening. But then the issue is if you're going to throw it further, sort of outside the numbers, well, then the corner is in perfect position to make this play. It's not open here. It's just not. Wentz is, I don't know, in a giving spirit, I guess, throws one up down the field for an interception. Just, again, a bad play, and I want to still be clear, like, I feel like this is bad for Carson Wentz. Like, Carson Wentz has his issues as a quarterback, but they were all shown in this game. And again, you just think about with Taylor Heinicke on the sideline, like, I'm not going to sit here and say Taylor Heinicke is a fantastic quarterback, but he did outplay Wentz this year, even prior to this game, and I didn't actually hate the move to go to Carson Wentz. I know that's, probably controversial take, especially now. I understood the logic because Carson Wentz over the course of his career has been a better quarterback than Taylor Heinicke over the course of his career, in my opinion. But this season, that has just absolutely not been the case, especially after this game. And I think that you probably should have pulled the cord and put Heinicke in at a certain point in this one. Like, even stuff like this, Wentz just has to be in his head. Like, that's just what I think about with Wentz. Because, like, I don't know, again, I know that's kind of like more of a, usually I like to find takes that are a little bit more like based in like, things that we can prove. I can't prove that Carson Wentz in his head. Maybe he's not, but it just feels that way. Because something like this, just a, quick throw to the halfback, right? Very simple play. Wentz is going to take the snap. You see how it's working. I mean, this is the easiest of layups. This is if it's a basketball scenario, this is a 7-foot center with the ball in his hands and nobody else on that side of the court type of layup. That's where he's at if you're Wentz. This is a throw that if you're someone who's just playing pickup football, you have to make. And Wentz just bounces this one, and I don't understand that. I don't understand what happened to him. Very weird, just a bizarre game. I don't really have a ton else to say. Oh, here's the underlying issue. He just played so bad. He was just a terrible quarterback in this game. It's one of the worst performances of the season. It might be the worst performance of the season. And Zach Wilson played this year. I mean, this was a brutal type game for Carson Wentz, and for the Washington Commanders, it's even more hurtful because this knocked you out of the playoffs. You are now completely out of it. Apparently, Ron Rivera had no idea that could happen, which is also a concern. Tough look for Ron Rivera. Unfortunate that for him that this happened, but at the end of the day, it's you make a decision like this, it has to work out. It didn't work out, and now the Commanders are dead. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.